have gotten their fucking shit bombed by Russian forces and probably no longer have such a pro-Russia take.
That was conducted entirely after the first Republican presidential debate and mostly after the release of Donald Trump's Fulton County mugshot. The former president holds a whopping 46-point lead over Florida Governor Ron DeSantis among GOP primary voters, 59 to 13%. My next guest is also somewhere on that list, but with much less support, with 5%. Joining me now is 2024 presidential.
Wait, what is the DeSantis at 13, a whopping 13% points, and Haley at 8. This, let me tell you something. Nikki Haley at 8%. If I'm Ron DeSantis, I'm trying to get as misogynistic as possible as quickly as possible. Because as I've stated time and time again, okay, the only thing that every other candidate right now, including Ramaswamy, is doing is eating away at the never Trump Republicans. Okay? That's the only thing that's happening. And Ron DeSantis is supposed to be the leader of that cause, right? The Republican that will defend the interests of the party. Nikki Haley is eating away at little Rhonda's market share right now in a dramatic fashion. Scary stuff for the Rhonda camp.
With 5%. Joining me now is 2024 presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. First of all, thank you for being here and engaging us in this conversation. I want to start with comments you made repeatedly now, referring to Massachusetts Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley and author Ibram Kendi as, quote, grand wizards of the modern KKK. Now, I understand you differ with both of them politically and probably with me. But as a graduate of Harvard and Yale universities, I believe you must be aware the Ku Klux Klan is not a political party. It's a terrorist organization. Historians view the Klan as the driving force behind lynchings of blacks in the American South. More than 4,000 people murdered from 1877 to 1950. And the group is linked to numerous other acts of racial violence continuing through the civil rights movement to the present day. You're running to be the leader of the free world. So your choice of words matter. Have you taken any time to reflect upon the possibility that comparing your political rivals to murderous terrorists might put their lives in danger at a time when hate crimes are on the rise? Or do you just don't care?
So Reverend Sharpton, I don't look at the world through political parties. Frankly, it's good to see it's been 20 years since we last spoke. And part of the reason that I came to that event
He recognized it. 20 years, man. 20 years ago, this man was like, why should I vote for you? You have no experience. Oh, how the turntables, okay? Oh, how the turntables.
Years ago with you is that you were a political outsider just like I am in my own party. But let me talk about the issue you're actually asking about, which is that
I love the guy saying he's a political outsider, polling at 5%. And every fucking ounce of that percentage literally comes from him carbon copying the guy polling at 59%. Okay? There is nothing like, you can't LARP as a political outsider if you are trying to actively be Trump but Indian. Okay? There's nothing. It's like when Fox News says that the media is out to get them or something, right? It's like, brother, you are mainstream media. There is nothing more mainstream than fucking Fox News. It's like Donald Trump saying he's a political outsider when he was a very much insider. Hillary Clinton came to his fucking wedding. Hillary and Bill Clinton literally were invited and attended his wedding, okay?
You know what's toxic about that old world view of organizations like the KKK, which have been a god-awful stain on our national history, is that they say that your skin color determines what you're allowed to say, what you're allowed to think. To say you have to shut up, sit down, and do as you're told because you're black or brown skinned. Well, you know what Ayanna Pressley said much more recently is that we don't want any more black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't want any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice.
I love that Vivek is literally like, no, it's racist to tell me that I can't defend white supremacy as a brown man. Like, that's actually the true white supremacist take, is that as a brown guy, you can't clown on me for representing the interests of white guys. It's awesome. It's such a fucking funny take. I love that.
And so, yes, I do think there are echoes of a historical ugly racism in this country now showing up in new clothing.
To say we
and
don't
what I want to lead us to as the next president
just a second.
is a
to say
united
that we
nation
do not want
where we
black
don't actually
voices,
judge each other on the color of our
To
skin.
say that is not going with sheets and burning crosses and lynching people. If she said something you disagree
but
with,
the point I'm making,
you can.
Like, this is, of course, the 2023 everyone's a liberal meme that I engage in regularly, which is not a meme, but basically a fucking cardinal rule at this point. I'm imagining the like in the Reconstruction era, I'm imagining like reactionary black former slaves who wanted to go back to a existence of like either defending sharecropping or like legitimately going back to like slavery because they had a better class position in comparison to other black people because they were inside of the house. Like those guys advocating to return back to chattel slavery, and then like the Ku Klux Klan saying to their criticizers that they are the real racists, like the KKK being like, you know what? He's right. And the fact that you don't want to return, the fact that you will not give him, a black man, a voice. They wouldn't use black man. They use a different voice there, different term there. But the fact that you, the rest of you blacks, don't want to give him a voice is the real racism. Like, my man, you're literally wearing a robe. Like, you're burning a cross. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just expressing my freedom of speech, brother. How dare you? What power?
Not equate Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan with somebody saying something that you think is a little controversial or a little too far. Some of our relatives were terrorized by the Ku Klux Klan. I'm trying to get you to understand
I know
the pain
you're intellectually honest. I know you're an intellectual.
Bro, he's an MSNBC commentator. Like, are you even allowed to say that? Like, what are you saying? You're talking to an MSNBC commentator. Like, you're calling him intellectually honest? You're supposed to say the opposite.
Actually honest guy, and so I will remind you that Hakeem Jeffries drew analogies between Donald Trump and the Ku Klux Klan, and I don't think you had him on pressing him in the same way.
Yeah, I wonder why. One, well, by the way, I don't even like Hakeem Jeffries, but one, he's black. Two, Donald Trump is analogous to the KKK. Many Republicans are. Many of them you are defending. Like, this idea that, like, the fucking Klansmen are not very much deeply embedded in modern Republican Party politics is so stupid. What are you talking about? Like, why do we always have to sit here and act like the reality in front of our fucking eyes is just not real? Like, whenever I hear Tedward Rafael Cruz talk about, like, the real Klans is actually the Democrats. And it's like, brother, last week you defended the Confederacy last week. You said that they have to have their monuments up and that people attacking them are terrorists or whatever. Like, you can't on the one fucking hand unironically defend the Confederates, notice that the people voting for you in the fucking voting booths are wearing, the Confederate garb, okay, the flags and whatnot, have it as their bumper stickers on their fucking cars, and then simultaneously be like, well, the Democrats are the real ones who are defending the Klan, or the Democrats are the ones who are defending the Confederacy. It's like, it's so stupid. I hate that. What I hate the most is that, like, in order to engage with a lot of conservative politics, you have to dumb yourself down. Like, in order to even understand the arguments that they're trying to make, or why those arguments are actually relevant, or why those arguments actually make sense, you have to literally take a fucking pan and slam your head with it, okay? Until you're just like bleeding out of your fucking ears and eyes and nose, and a big chunk of your brain has like fallen out of your fucking earlobes. That's only then can you just be like, all right, you know what? I get it. I understand where you're coming from, Ted. Thank you. That at the top of the hour, there is a 3-minute ad break. Okay? And if you no longer want to see those ads, I get it. Like, all you need to do is subscribe, which you could do for $5 or for free with Twitch Prime. Okay? Republicans know that their power is dwindling, and it has been dwindling for years. They're just scrounging up support from wherever they can, even if it's from racist, crazies, dumbasses. I mean, Republicans have always tapped into the racist, crazies, and dumbasses market. If anything, their power is currently seemingly dwindling because they are in a bind here where in order to make it out of the primary, you have to be as crazy as possible. But in order to win the general, you can't go too crazy. You're coping if you think conservatives are falling off. I don't think conservatives are falling off, but I do believe that there is an endless need to keep pushing the boundaries, right? And in a country where reactionaries are not given anything to react to, okay, they have to keep pressing the issue over and over again because they don't have anything to claw back. If the Democrats actually did what they are supposed to, what they claim they want to do, you know what I mean? Improving material conditions, genuinely advocating for social progress, creating checks and boundaries to ensure that that social progress doesn't go away, then Republicans would react to that and try to desperately claw that back. But when there is no like new thing that they can get mad at, because the Democrats are basically polite conservatives in many respects, you end up being the guy who pushes the needle forward. And what are you going to push for? You're going to push for culture war issues. You have to, you can't just let it. First, it's like, we just don't want teenagers to get hormone blockers or whatever. And then it goes into, actually, we don't want adults to get any kind of elective surgery as well. Actually, we just decided that it's illegal to be trans, or it's illegal to be a doctor that is like giving gender affirming care to trans people specifically, not cis people, of course. Cis people get gender affirming care all the fucking time, I myself included. I literally have a fucking subscription where I get hormone blockers, okay? A prostate medication for my fucking hairline, but that's perfectly fine and dandy. Joe Rogan himself, a transphobic person, literally does TRT. Testosterone replacement therapy. It is HRT. HRT is hormone replacement therapy. Okay? So remember, all of that stuff is perfectly fine and dandy. Okay? It's just not fine when trans people are engaging in it because that's unacceptable. Right? We've been geared to get mad at that. So, the point is, if there isn't any protections on the Democratic side, protections that the Democrats run on and claim that they're going to engage in, right, but never end up engaging in, then Republicans don't have anything to fucking advocate against, so they just have to do their own thing. They have to be the ones leading the conversation, because they do. In the United States of America, Republicans do run the government. They do run the conversation. It does not matter. They are doing that from a losing position all the time. Make no mistake, this wave of anti-trans legislation, or this wave of, for example, abortion restrictions, the criminalization of abortion, happened under a Democratic Party's administration. Do you get it? Even when they're losing, they're actually still the ones pushing the narrative. They're actually still the ones making gains politically. Okay? So in the absence of liberals actually doing anything to protect people, All they have left is to push the boundaries further and further. And the more they push and the more they actually act out on those legislative desires or act out on those desires from the most radical components in their fucking base of support, the more evil they look. That is the crisis of conflict internally within the Republican Party today. Democrats don't do enough. So in the absence of that, Republicans have to find something to claw back. And what are they clawing back? They're clawing back protections that were set forth for decades at this point. They're clawing back civil liberties in an effort to appease some of the most important bases of support that they've had for years and years. That's it. The martial arts gym bro community being anti-trans or anti-gender affirming cares the biggest crock of shit. They're at least on test or some kind of gear. The mental gymnastics they have to do to be hateful is truly astounding. Yeah, they just don't. They're meatheads. What do you mean? They don't really think too much. Let's continue.
So we're drawing analogies here to make a point.
He did not call Donald Trump the grand dragon of the KKK. He did not call Donald Trump an officer of the modern KKK. Let's not change what was said.
So, Reverend Sharpton, though, I'm calling out a double standard and saying that certain people can use certain analogies to make a point. Well, I'm using an analogy to make a point. And the point I'm making is we should stop seeing each other on the basis of our skin color. It was god-awful when the KKK did it. But you know what? We have to learn a lesson in the present that we're creating more racial division in this country.
But you
when you say if you have black skin, you can only think one thing.
You cannot do it being insensitive to our feeling. Like, that's like calling somebody of any kind of group that had a group that were terrorizing.
So I agree with you, we need sensitivity.
So I think we need to be very careful about that. And I wanted to raise that with you directly. Let me go to my next point.
And I respect that you're willing to have an open conversation.
Campaign,
that's
but
what we need in
I want to
this
ask you a couple of questions. And one thing, you know, if you talked, you mentioned we talked 20 years ago, and I'm going to get to that, but you should have known 20 years ago. You're not going to out-talk me, so let me ask my question. I'll let you talk, then I'll go back to the next point.
Goes both ways, yeah.
All right. You've spoken out against affirmative action and diversity programs, even though it is a reporting in Axios and elsewhere have produced evidence. Your own former company has been involved in various DEI and ESG initiatives. Your own companies, DEI, diversity. I would hope we can agree that historically many communities of color have not enjoyed the same socio-economic benefits as white Americans. And many of those disparities persist to this day. What specifically would you do as president to address that problem, keeping in mind your own company got diversity business?
Yeah, so I want to be very clear about that. After I stepped down as CEO, precisely to speak my mind freely, the company that I founded went the direction of most companies in corporate America. And I disagree with that decision. But you're asking a more important question about what are we going to do to ensure equality of opportunity in this country. You're right. We have been an imperfect nation. I've always said it. But we aspire towards perfection. How do we go that next step?
Why they keep interviewing Indian Hitler? They ran out of content. Yes, and also he is such a slut for cameras. Like, I think at this point he recognizes, like, no matter what happens, like, I will go. They will always ask me, and I will always go. Because you know they're fucking asking Ron DeSantis to come on too, and Ron's like, fuck no, get the fuck out of here.
I want to make sure kids aren't trapped in the ghetto of a zip code that they happen to be born in. To the contrary, I think every parent deserves to have the opportunity to send their kids to the best possible school. That's why I favor radical school choice in this country. I think it's a mystery, Reverend Sharpton. The very people who will wax eloquent about systemic racism are also the ones who are opposed to educational mobility. That's why I've said shut down the U.S. Department of Education. Use that $80 billion, put it in the hands of parents so they can actually send their kids to that best possible school they can. That's the actual civil rights issue of our time. So I stand for solutions. I stand for equality of opportunity. But I reject race-based quota systems.
I did not go to Harvard, but I know when a question is not answered. I did not ask you about education. I asked you about diversity in business. I asked you about a company you headed getting DEI. How do we deal with
here's what I'm against.
Wait a minute. Let me ask the question again. How do we deal with the economic disparity in businesses of color and people of color in the economic arena? You ran the school choice, good duck, but wrong show. Deal with the economic. You're a business.
Guys, did I serve a top of the hour ad break and forgot? Or did I just not do it at the top of this hour? Oh my God, I forgot to run it. Okay, well, my bad. I'm running it now. Sorry about that. No, I didn't actually serve it. I just segued it, but I forgot to serve it. Oops. All right, let's continue.
It's actually related. You know, I know you're smarter than this to know that education leads to economic prosperity. So there's no Band-Aid fix.
But after you're educated, we have educated people that can't get contracts. We have educated people that have no problem with being educated that can't get contracts. How do you deal with the inequality in how they do business in this country, how they get jobs? That's where the DEI programs come from.
So I understand where they come from. I'm against it because it causes us to see one another on the basis of our skin color. I can tell you from personal experience. I have hired, both in businesses I've founded, even in this campaign.
I thought he was going to say, I suck, and they hired me specifically because I'm brown. I thought that's what he was going to say. I can tell you from personal experience, I am unqualified for most positions that I was involved with. There is nothing funnier about a non-white, non-male Republican candidate speaking out against diversity because, brother, your entire existence on that stage is a DEI initiative just in the other direction. Like, what the fuck are you saying? Why also do you find yourself shitting on it nonstop? Non-male, he's trans. No, you fucking idiots, shut up. God damn it, dude. No, I'm saying across the board, if you're not a white guy and you're running for the Republican Party, and you shit on DEI, it's funny because your position in the party is basically to be a token, and it goes for women too. Okay? No, it goes for women as well. Women that are like running in the Republican Party are there to be like, yeah, these guys are not sexist, actually. Like, abortion is perfectly fine. That's why I said non-male. Like, in general. If you're anything but a white man and you're running for the Republican Party, you're running specifically as a DEI initiative. Okay? That's it.
Campaign, people who are black executives who have, I think, been unfairly judged. I put them in those positions because of merit. Other people at the companies and otherwise have seen those people as getting that position because of racial quota systems.
All right.
That is wrong, no matter whether you're black or white.
Many of them
What is DEI? I love when a chatter in this community says, what is DEI? Because it means that, like, I haven't been breaking your brains too hard. It's diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. My man said diversity, equity, and exclusion. Yeah, that would be something that Republicans want. It's just like, it's like there are programs that seek to pluck members of certain backgrounds that are underrepresented and bring them on board. Okay, it's like privatized affirmative action, if you want to call it that, but not really anyway, because like just like with affirmative action, it is holistic, and the process itself is not as like black and white as the way Republicans complain about it. And the same goes for DEI initiatives, which is it's just liberal corporations trying to be like, hey, look, we're actually super diverse, which they do actually benefit from. The reality is America is a diverse country. And therefore, having, for example, a diverse board of executives is helpful for capitalist corporations and their bottom line. That's it. Whether white conservatives want to, or even black conservatives want to admit it or not, black people, brown people, gay people have disposable income. Okay? What does that mean? That means you have to serve them. That means you have to market to them. And the best possible way to market to them is to ensure that there are people that are representative of these populations in positions of power in your company. That's why capitalists do things. They don't do things out of the kindness of their heart. Okay? They do things because they want to make money. That's it.
Go back to colorblind meritocracy. That's what we need in this country.
Well,
that's how I've led the companies I've built. That's how I will lead this country.
You know that many of them
were
barred and had the merit. But since you talked about experience, I need to show you this tape.
Yeah.
Back in 2003, when I ran for president and you were there to ask me a question at a forum I was doing at Harvard University. So 20 years later, now my turn to ask.
Yep.
Let me first play you the tape of you and I 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Good. Let's get to my question here. Go ahead.
Reverend Sharpton, hello. I'm Vivek, and I want to ask you, last week on the show we had Senator Kerry, and this week and the week before we had Senator Edwards. And my question for you is, of all the Democratic candidates out there, why should I vote for the one with the least political experience?
Well, you shouldn't, because I have the most political experience. I got...
Chat falling for the classic meme. He didn't have hair. He was just hiding it. It's a classic move. I even do it as well. Luckily, my hairline is nowhere near as bad as Vivek's, but come on, chat. Come on, chat. Those are strategic bangs. Exactly. Come on.
I got involved in the political movement when I was 12 years old. And I've been involved in social policy for the last 30 years. So don't confuse people that have a job with political experience. So 20 years later, now my turn to ask you, of all the Republican candidates out there, why should someone vote for you, the one with the least political experience? And I might add, you've never held office. You've only voted twice.
That's correct.
In the last few elections. You don't even vote regularly.
Yes.
And you support Donald Trump, who never held office until he was president. Well, you putting a different standard on me, but I won't even make the racial application there. Why should we vote for you?
Listen, at the age of 18, I think you persuaded me on that one, that political experience is not the same as holding office. To tell you the truth, the reason I came out there and I was intrigued.
Can I put out right-wing press that Sharpton converted a young, well, I don't want to take credit for
to believe outside of political experience, I'm going to tell you the truth. One of the things, I'll even give you one more for you, okay?
Oh, he's starting to get, I feel like Vivek is so uncompromising in like putting on a front, a television persona, anytime he's doing like media hits, that the one time that he is like emoting, he's still emoting by just doing more of the same, like, well, let me tell you, okay? And there is no shot, okay? There is no fucking shot that this plays well to just like regular normies. I mean, it's on MSNBC, so it doesn't matter. Obviously, like, not a lot of Republican primary voters are watching MSNBC. But if you don't have charisma and you're just like, well, let me tell you what you got wrong here, okay, Al? Like, when you do that, it's like you're not charming. You're just like annoying. You're a robot, okay? Like, everyone can see your fucking weird ass like salesman voice. It doesn't matter. He's running for VP, not P. Brother, there is 0% chance that someone whose last name is Ramaswamy is going to be featured next to the last name Trump. Okay? He's at most, if he's lucky, getting like insanely, unimaginably lucky, maybe getting a cabinet position. But even then, he's most likely not getting a cabinet position. He wants probably Department of Education. He wants to be Education Secretary. But he's most likely not even getting that. He's most likely getting another Andrew Yang style media, like a media job that will also not be consistent. He'll get a book deal and a media job where they'll bring him around to be the defender of Donald Trump that does it in a way that is appealing to liberals, like that is in a way that is like very frustrating to liberals, but in a way that it's like content. You know what I mean? That's it. I feel like he could get a Secretary of Education job. I don't know, maybe, but probably not. That's probably why he's auditioning for the... I think this is a calculated guy. I don't think he thinks he's getting the VP position. I think he thinks he's possibly getting the Department of the Department of Education position. Okay? Rick Perry was Secretary of Energy. Anything is possible. Yes, you're comparing Betsy DeVos and Rick Perry, two people that have dedicated their entire lives to gutting those specific departments, to a guy who's just saying he wants to gut it with no backing. Do you know how many fucking people are on the Republican Party, especially on the mainstream side, Republican Party lineup, that have been at this game for years and years before Vivek Ramaswamy, especially when it comes to destroying the Department of Education? Come on. Betsy DeVos is a perfect Secretary of Education. You want to know why? Because as a billionaire failed daughter, she has spent every fucking dollar that, or not every dollar, but like a gigantic chunk of her own company's money launching initiatives and gutting out education in, I believe it was Michigan, right? Like, she has so much experience and has basically paid to be the person who is eviscerating education through lobbying efforts and gutting what remains of public education, only to create like these psychotic, weirdo, super fucking right-wing, super Christian private education centers.
You were the only anti-war candidate back then. I was against the Iraq War. As I recall, you were the only anti-war candidate in either party. Well, guess what? Tables turn now. I'm the only true anti-war candidate in either political party now when it comes to Ukraine. I believe in America First policies. I think this Ukraine war does not advance American interests. I was the only person with the courage to say that on the Republican debate stage last.
I think liberals will use Vivek's like lack of popularity to be like, see, there's no appetite for being anti-war in Ukraine. I suspect that is another avenue that they'll use when it's like, no, it's just because he's personally unlikable.
Last week, the real war I would take on is the war against the administrative state, the shadow government here at home. I think the people who we elect to run the government once.
Yeah, he's so anti-war. He's so anti-war. He wants to take the funds away from the war in Ukraine so he can invade Mexico. And also, in this like insane way, he wants to create an allegiance with Russia to attack China. It's pure fantasy. It's the most like fantastical way of thinking I've ever heard.
Once again, ought to be the people who actually run the government, not the cancerous bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. I'll have a 75% headcount reduction for all of the people who weren't elected in Washington, D.C. So this is a very different vision than you hear amongst traditional Democrats for sure, but even amongst traditional Republicans. I want to shut down the administrative state. I want to declare independence from China. I want to grow our economy by drilling and fracking and embracing energy. And I want to revive national pride in this country. That's not a Republican idea or a Democratic vision. It is a pro-American vision. That's what I stand for. It's why I'm in this race.
I would take issue that when I opposed the war in Iraq and going for weapons of mass destruction that wasn't there, so I ended up being right. You can't compare that to the United States supporting Ukraine defending itself against Russia. So that's
Look, I think there's a myth that Ukraine's actually, I think I was against the Iraq war then, but I'm consistent now. Ukraine is not some democracy that we've now painted it to be. I think this is a regime that really has some serious.
Like, who is there? Where is the appetite for this kind of commentary in the broader American voter base? Like, you only have this take if you've been in you only have this take if you are one expressly anti-NATO. You've been fucking watching this space for a very long time, and even then you're most likely considered a crank by leftist circles in general, or liberals avoid talking to you, avoid talking about you. There is truth to what he's saying. Obviously, Ukraine is not a fucking democracy, but that doesn't matter. He's using this as a jump off point. And I don't understand who. I know. I love that people say a Hasan viewer. Yeah, I know exactly. Totally. Ukraine has never been a perfect nation. It's of course very fucking corrupt. Ironically, I was going to actually talk about Ukraine today because there was a defense secretary change happening. But regardless, you mean how the squad critiqued endless war in Ukraine and were told to retract it? Exactly. That's my point that I'm making, is that there is no broader appetite for this kind of take. You can say we should stop giving endless amounts of money to Ukraine, and there is broader appetite for that, for sure, especially in the Republican side. But trying to justify Russia's invasion of Ukraine, on the other hand, by delivering this perspective, is only relegated to the darkest corners of Telegram. Okay? You can't be pushing Z in public and expect people to be yeah, you're so right, King. You're goated. You know what I mean? Who the fuck is out there? Maybe he's a Russian. He's got to be a Russian public. Okay, stop. The best argument they could make, but aren't, is that we keep sending weapons to continue the war, not end it. Yeah, but they don't care about that because they have no lexicon to talk about issues like this. I think he has triangulated this perspective. He has arrived at this perspective by looking into too much Reddit. Not even Reddit. Reddit is very expressly anti Russia, but 4chan. It seems like he's trying to do a unique foreign policy approach.
For the United States, Ukraine is in
So I think I respectfully disagree with you.
Strategic place where
I respectfully disagree that I do not think
surrounded. But all right, we can agree to disagree on
Ukraine
that.
is not a NATO ally, and Ukraine doesn't advance U.S. interests. So that's one of the things that's distinctive about my views.
Even that is wrong. Ukraine absolutely advances American interests. The fuck are you talking about? The people that openly state that by using 5% of the fucking military budget, we've been able to effectively dismantle half of the Russian opposition, half of the Russian military. What do you mean? That guy is more honest than him, okay? It absolutely aligns with U.S. interests, what's going on in Ukraine, and the further continuation of the war in Ukraine, 1,000,000% aligns with American interests. They have to sell old fucking refurbished weapons somewhere, okay? And then justify filling those stocks again by opening up new contracts to the military-industrial complex. That's precisely what they're doing. They're engaging in arms sales of shit product that you normally wouldn't be able to sell or normally wouldn't be able to give to the American government, the American military. It is a proxy war and not as costly if you look at the rest of the fucking military budget. In the eyes of the American politicians, It's great. Not a single fucking U.S. soldier is dying. You know what I mean? They're throwing Ukrainian bodies at the problem of Russian military invasion. The entire planet knows how shitty the Russian ground game is overall, that they can't fucking, as some people correctly pointed out, they would not be able to have an endless war in their neighboring nation of 40 million fucking people whose entire nation building project revolves around saying fuck Russia. Seems to me like that guy had a point. I don't know if you guys remember who that guy was. That was me. I was the guy. That's why I said it was insane that Russia would invade Ukraine. But now everybody fucking understands that this is a perfect low stakes war that they can dump all of their like shitty products to and keep hamming up the narrative that like Russia is going to invade Europe. With what army are they invading Europe? What's going on? They can't even fucking invade Ukraine. What's happening? So, ultimately, it is a war that is absolutely beneficial to American interests if you don't have any kind of like cohesive, coherent morality that is guiding you to push for peace.
Respectfully on that. Now, NBC is reporting that you were once a recipient of a fellowship for immigrants and children of immigrants from the Soros Foundation. You were awarded the fellowship in 2011 to support your studies at Yale Law School. And the issue is that you, the child of Indian immigrants, are now accusing some immigrants of carrying out an invasion of the United States. And that as president, you would make it more difficult for children of immigrants born here to participate in the political process.
I remember Hasan getting so much shit back then for saying this was a proxy war, and now I see so many comments on every platform going, that was so obvious from the beginning, and I'm like, sure, yeah, I mean, because we're more open and honest about it being a proxy war and not necessarily one, it's to the left, and not necessarily one that's done for like earnest opinions, even though the most diehard fans will still say that this is the morally righteous cause, and I'm a piece of shit for even saying America's genuine interest in the matter. Oh, hello, Fiona. Hey, Hiya, come here. Go outside? Oh, but she peed outside? Okay. Thank you.
The floor is yours to explain how you enjoyed from it, that you shopped and convinced you could run for president. Soros helped you through college. Explain all of this.
Come on. So you know what's really kind of funny about this? That you draw a distinction between legal and illegal immigrants like it doesn't exist. And I think that's a major problem in this country. I think that we need to use our own military.
Wait, so George Soros is only helping legal immigration? Okay, got it. Thanks, man. You should definitely say that a lot more on the Republican trail. Direct quote from the Washington Post article by David Ignatius. Meanwhile, for the United States and its NATO allies, these 18 months of war have been a strategic windfall at a relatively low cost, in parentheses, other than for the Ukrainians. Pretty fucking psychotic parenthetical. Yeah, well, it's the American war machine. It is psychotic. It makes money when people die. Okay? I really don't know how to push for peace, and literally no one does. That's the issue. The Ukrainians don't want it. Not the president or the people, and the Russians definitely don't want it. Neither side has achieved their basic aims, liberation or occupation of at least 4 full oblasts in the east and south, respectively. It is a massive fuck up for both parties and that are either intentionally or unintentionally involved in the situation. The only way to deal with it is by having not the actual nations that are currently in conflict, but instead the daddy nations that are the ones who are continuing the conflict to get to the table together and decide to put an end to it. But the reality is no one wants to do that. It's just it. No one wants to do that. You're correct. Zelensky has internal pressure to ensure that the war continues, and external pressure to ensure that the war continues, because Americans are literally fucking like, we're going to keep giving you monies. We're going to keep giving you the monies. We're going to keep giving you the weapons. Come on. We'll maybe even test out some new shit that we haven't tested out yet. And there is no appetite to end the war or end the invasion in Ukraine, because why the fuck would there be? They are being invaded. There's the only people that would turn around and say, yeah, we shouldn't fight Russia on this, have gotten their fucking shit bombed by Russian forces and probably no longer have such a pro-Russia take. Like, there were areas inside of Ukrainian borders that actually did have a more favorable opinion of Russia, and those fucking opinions are long gone. Why the fuck would you care about Russia when the Russian forces are the ones who are fucking bombing your apartment complex? So there is that. And I'm not talking about LPR and DPR. I'm talking specifically about Kharkiv and other places. So obviously, there is no interest on the Ukrainian side, because that's understandable. The point is, in these sorts of situations, it doesn't really matter what the people on the ground and what their opinions are. That's just the truth. And whenever I say this, people get very mad at me. They're like, Hasan, fuck you. Like, Ukrainians get mad at me too when they hear me say this, but like, it's the reality. If you ask Ukrainians what they want, they also want to be a part of NATO. Okay? And that's not even remotely in contention here. Like, not a single American leader has been like, yeah, we're going to put Ukraine in NATO. No, not a single fucking leader has said, we're going to institute Article 5 for Ukraine. We're going to do a no-fly zone over Ukraine. We're going to fucking let Ukraine into NATO. Every single person goes, fuck no, shut the fuck up. And guess what? The Ukrainians understand it. They're frustrated, but their needs and their desires, which are understandable in this situation, is not happening for them. And not only that, but a massive fuck you to the Ukrainians is when they're like, here, take the guns, keep dying to Russian artillery fire. Meanwhile, let's fast track Sweden into fucking NATO. Let's fast track Finland into fucking NATO. So what happened? Those that were slated to become NATO member countries will become NATO member countries. Those that will not will get thrown into the fucking cannon fodder. You know what I mean? So clearly, we don't give a shit about the interests of the Ukrainians. We only give a shit about our interests, which is how many weapons can we fucking, how many refurbished old-ass weapons can we give to the Ukrainians as they fucking die while they are basically engaging in a war of attrition with the Russian military. You know? Dude, come on, that's not accurate. What's not accurate? Am I wrong? I didn't realize that the United States genuinely had interest in letting Ukraine into NATO. That's crazy. Ukraine is a corruption issue, which has been a big reason why they haven't joined NATO. If anything, the corruption issue was that there were Russian loyalists within the Ukrainian government until recently, and that was the real reason. But no, the real reason is because what is happening currently would have inevitably happened if they tried to do something like this, which is why we're in the conversation to begin with. Anyway, so Biden has said multiple times that as soon as the war is over in Ukraine, they're going to be in NATO. Yeah, brother. Yeah, exactly. Because if the war is over in Ukraine, that means that either A, NATO assurances have already been given, or B, Russia has been completely dismantled and eviscerated. Also, Biden says a bunch of fucking shit, and who gives a fuck what he says? Yeah. We all know how little corruption Turkey has. Yeah, that's also another funny thing. We're just like, wow, NATO countries being in active conflict, that definitely plays a big role in not allowing Ukraine to join NATO. Hello? Turkey is the only NATO nation that is actively engaging in either proxy wars with other NATO nations like France in Libya, or directly has engaged in war with other NATO nations like Turkey versus Greece. Okay? Get the fuck out of here. Like, it doesn't matter. They needed to have missile bases directly pointing at the USSR. So they were like, Turkey, you're in NATO now. Okay? Wasn't Turkey about to invade Syria a few years ago? Brother, Turkey's current occupation of the northern Syrian corridor is a NATO occupation, okay? It is with the go-ahead of the United States of America. Hasan, I agree, but the issue is who's the one pushing or controlling it on the Russian side, because China isn't directly involved and isn't sending arms to Russia. North Korea is and might be about to send much, much more, and regardless won't be bothered about ending the war. It's not their interest to, and it won't be pressured into forcing Russia to do so. The U.S. is a clear backer on the Ukrainian side. I think that China has a tremendous amount of influence over what Russia could do. So on the Russian end, China would absolutely play a role. Like, I'm not a big BRICS guy. I don't think that they have like the economic powerhouse to truly destroy American hegemony or whatever. But if there wasn't a financial support, if there wasn't actually economic support from China, which, by the way, also influences North Korea as well, which is ironic that you said it's not China, it's North Korea, as though like they are truly Jusha and not and self-reliant and not at all a carve-out space for Chinese interests in the region. Like, North Korea is basically China's. It's like basically China's Kurdistan. Okay, at this point in that region, like what Kurds and Kurdish militia forces or a promise of Kurdistan is in the Middle East to the United States of American military interests is what North Korea is to China. Someone said China, South Korea. Okay, that's fair. So that's what's going on there. I mean, it's reductive. What I'm describing is reductive. Foreign policy, in a couple of words, is always going to be that way. But anyway, as I was stating, all of this stuff, at the end of the day, how do we arrive at this? We arrived at this because I was covering fucking Vivek Ramaswamy's insane, incomprehensible foreign policy positions, which there is no appetite for, and doesn't really make sense even from a realpolitik perspective. He wants to take funds away from Ukraine to go back to Mexico and invade Mexico. He wants to take funds away from Ukraine and then develop a partnership with Russia against China. Good luck.
To secure our own southern border. Not an armed invasion across somebody else's random border, but across our own border right here in the United States of America. I stand for that. I believe in the rule of law. My parents came to this country legally, through the front door, followed the rules, paid their taxes, raised 2 kids. Both of us went on to found companies that helped thousands of Americans. But that also means that your first act of entering this country cannot break the law. That's part of what it means to be an American. We believe in the rule of law. Right. So, yes, I want to end funding for sanctuary cities, end foreign aid to Mexico and other countries.
You have no problem
illegal immigration,
with helping,
I am a hardliner on. Absolutely.
You have no problem with helping those immigrants that come here and follow the law and become citizens.
I want to help every legal citizen of this country. That's what America First means, putting every American first. And you see how I run this campaign? It's very different. I've gone to the south side of Chicago, to Kensington, in the middle of Philadelphia. Right. I haven't called Zelensky, but I have called people in West Maui. America First means every American.
All right, let me ask you this. But that means
you have to come to this country legally, not illegally.
Let me ask you this. You say we run the country with a nation of laws and that we ought to follow the laws. Then how can you and your colleagues stand on a debate stage and say that you would endorse and support for president a man if he was convicted of breaking the law and a felony in Donald Trump? How can you say, I will put a convict back in the White House, and you say that I'm supporting the law?
The way our Constitution and laws of this country work, first of all, I'm running to be the next president, and I expect to be the next president because I want to reunite this country in a way that we badly need. But I have made a pledge to be on that debate stage, and I intend to keep it, because I think the way we do things in the United States of America is that the people of this country get to decide who governs, not the administrative police state. So for better or worse, if it's a guy I disagree with or a guy I agree with,
I'm talking
in this
about
case,
if
Donald
he
Trump, I
was
do agree with most of his
convicted
policies.
of the crime.
But
the question
either
posed
way,
to you all
you got to follow the Constitution.
You
have to follow the Constitution.
Of a crime. If the Constitution.
Yo, that's my favorite has been in this interview so far when Vivek Ramaswamy deadass said George Soros is like pro-immigration grants that I am a recipient of is actually good because it's only given to legal immigrants. You can't, on the one hand, be a rethuglican, okay, a Trump-supporting rethuglican, and then on the other hand, turn around and be like, and the George Soros grant was perfectly fine because I'm a legal immigrant. Like, you think Republicans make that distinction? Brother, depending on what level of racism they're operating on, they quite literally say that George Soros, as a Jewish person, is doing this to dismantle the Western supremacy. Like, what are we talking about? Therein lies the fucking problem with Vivek as a guy who wants to be like a Trump guy, okay? While simultaneously being like a World Economic Forum billionaire lib for most of his fucking life.
It's clear
so the
if he's
Constitution
convicted of
does not
seditious
eliminate you.
Conduct, he's eliminated. Let me then put it to you this way.
The Constitution governs. I believe in the Constitution, and the Constitution says we have a process for picking presidents in this country. I think we should follow it. I expect to follow it. I expect to be the next president. But even if it's not me, I will support anyone who follows that process.
If you became president, would you pardon Donald Trump for any of the crimes that he's been indicted for, or if he's convicted?
On the current facts that we have, he is one of many people that I have identified as someone I would pardon, because I do not think that this sets a good precedent for our country, where a party in power uses police force to indict its political opponents in the middle of an election. There are Democrats on that list.
Wait a minute. You've got 19 people indicted. They're not running all of them. But even before you've heard the evidence, before the trials, you're saying that you would prejudge what is going to come out and try and commit to pardoning them.
That's not correct. You claim that's not correct. I've actually been very clear on this, Reverend. Assuming that the prosecution's statement of the facts in the indictment is the worst version of the facts, then yes, I would. So I waited till I read the indictments cover to cover. In 99% of prosecutions, you and any lawyer will also know this. That's the worst statement of the facts you're going to get for the defense.
But it's not all that's going to come out of trial. You and I know that. That's not all that's going to come out of trial. So what I said is assuming, well, I was very clear at the time. I said I've read the indictment, and assuming these are the worst facts, then yes, on these facts, I will pardon Trump. Just as, by the way, I've said I would pardon Julian Assange, who, by my best guess, has very different politics than I do. Because, again, we applied a different standard to Julian Assange. Because when you talk about the law, you've also said that, I remember there was the big argument about you saying that people having the right to guns had something to do with slavery. When the Second Amendment was in 1791, slavery didn't end until 1865. I mean, you're very, very...
Well, I can actually share with you something about this. Chief Justice Taney, and you and I probably have some common ground here. In the Dred Scott case, which said that black people could not be citizens in the U.S., shamefully, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court gave his argument for why. He said it would allow black people to own guns in this country. That is shameful. Yes, it is part of our history. But just because some people may be for gun control today, we can't sweep that under the rug.
They didn't do the Second Amendment to help. Blacks couldn't get guns and fight. There were no, they were not fighting to give blacks guns. And when Taney said that, clearly
so literally, that was the justification in the Dred Scott case for why black people couldn't be citizens.
Dred Scott
and the first
decision was not in
laws
1791, by the way. But one last thing.
It was before the Civil War, as you well know. And I think that we should confront our history and have an open and honest debate about it. That's what makes us stronger as a country.
Until the 13th Amendment, we couldn't
our
vote
history and confront it.
Let me ask you one last question. We're out of time.
And that's how we unite this country.
One thing we have in common with Trump is you've been criticized for trafficking in conspiracy theories. So here goes, do you believe, let me ask you this. because you and Trump have both been accused of trafficking conspiracy theories. Do you believe Barack Obama was born in the United States, and do you think it was appropriate for Trump to suggest to otherwise, even as evidence mounted, that the claim was a lie?
I think I have every reason to believe Obama was born in the U.S., and I have never brought up that issue, and I have no idea why we're actually discussing that. But what I have talked about is, for example, Saudi Arabia was absolutely involved in 9/11, despite the fact that our government refused to acknowledge it. That COVID-19 did originate in a lab in China, despite the fact that our government called that a conspiracy theory. That we still haven't seen the transgender shooter.
It is kind of funny that he's trying to debate Al Sharpton on like black issues. You know what I mean? My man, listen, like you might not agree with him. You might think he's a charlatan. You might think he does not look as hot as he used to when he was more rotund. Okay. But like he has so much more experience on literally owning everyone on black issues. Like, it's a wild thing to try to fucking put out there. Like, it's I don't get it. It's like trying to debate Vivek on fucking being like a horrible pharmaceutical VC-backed CEO guy. Like, that's what your experience is. Trying to wear all the hats Ariana Grande style. Like, this is the thing. Hasan and MSNBC exec confirmed. I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Al Sharpton, but like, my man has debated black issues from pretty much every fucking angle. Okay, all the way to like NAACP style conservative, relatively conservative, yet still liberal black issues to Pan-African nationalism. Okay, like he has done the talking points on every single aspect of black issues in America. Okay? Like he is first of all, he's OG, like he's the OG like black nationalist guy, okay? So in the 90s he's like, and he's like you said, he's been doing this since he was 12, which is true. In the 90s he was a black nationalist defense guy. Okay? And nowadays he's more of a lib, but he has also had his fair share of like more conservative ways of approaching black issues too.
Shooter manifesto out of Nashville. So those aren't conspiracy
Donald
theories.
Trump
those are conspiracy realities. That's what matters.
Barack Obama was born in Kenya. He's a man that you said was the best president this century. Should he have continued trafficking the Kenya lie about Barack Obama?
Look, I will say as a presidential candidate, absolutely the right decision to say that that was a ridiculous theory. Barack Obama was born in the United States. And frankly, I don't think we should dignify the things that aren't true versus talking about the hard things that were labeled conspiracy theories, but that are true now. So I actually believe in truth over theory. I'm tied to facts.
All right. Well, you certainly came. And
I don't get how he's deflecting away from the Barack Obama thing. Like, what's the argument there? He's saying that, like, Trump actually was uncovering a Saudi conspiracy by claiming Barack Obama is a Kenyan Muslim. Like, is that what he's... Like, actually, Trump was, what, like, doing the birther shit is obviously silly, which we, say is silly now. But it's actually still tied to something tangible, like only a Kenyan Muslim man would actually hide Saudi Arabia's involvement in 9/11, which is why Trump thought that he was actually a Kenyan Muslim man. Oh, the fucking pharma bro who rug pulled investors on a rebranded defunct product he misrepresented. This dude is literal poltergeist. I mean, this is one of those instances where his like... I mean, he's a charlatan. He's a capitalist demon. He's a vulturous parasite. But, like, he's not winning anything anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's more content at this point. Ramaswamy is the most irritating debate bro that plays the devil's advocate, which actually is their opinion in your uni poli-sci classes. Yeah, 100%. But I don't think Americans like debate bros as much. I think they like a charismatic, telegenic guy who says it like it is, who's like unapologetic, who represents their anger towards like liberal elite perverts or whatever the fuck, and even Republicans. And Trump has been able to channel that anger perfectly, especially because Trump doesn't engage in Ramaswamy style debate pervertry. Whenever he's like delivering a retort to someone who's like, you said that's my African American over there, Trump will be like, yeah, and he is my African American. Why are you being racist? He loves it. Why do you care? You know what I mean? Boom, it's over. The conversation is done. Right? Like when you are qualifying what you have to say, when you are describing what you actually meant, you're kind of losing. Democrats do this all the time because Democrats don't care about winning. They care about being a dignified loser, right? Republicans, on the other hand, they give a shit about winning. I don't know, man. I've seen a ton of people on social media backing Vivek. Yeah, I know, which is why, as a matter of fact, Bernie Sanders became president, if you remember, and instituted global homo socialism after becoming president. Do you guys remember that? That was so sick, you know. And he made me the what would I be? I don't even know what I would be. He made me labor czar, Secretary of Labor. He made me Minister of Truth. Great way of framing it. He's a student who takes over the 400-person lecture hall playing devil's advocate with the professor. Yeah, he made me media czar. So it's just like the reason why I'm jokingly responding to that chatter is that, like, what I'm trying to say to that chatter is it doesn't matter. Like, don't let the internet pollute your understanding of like American politics, when the broader majority of actually active people who vote are not necessarily extremely online people. They might be online, they might have Facebook, right? And there are certainly certain aspects of like both parties and their diehard base of support that is active online and extremely online. But the reality is, if people were as extremely online as like the Christopher Rufos of the world think they are, or the Matt Walshes of the world are, the Republicans would be going gangbusters on this like woke shit, anti-trans politics and the like.
And you knew I was going to fight it out with you, and you stood up, did about 3 or 4 ducks, threw a couple. We'll do this again. Thank you, 20.
Did you just say I dunked on you 3 or 4 times? That's disrespectful. The Shinzo Abe assassin was 100% correct. Yeah, this is like a really interesting situation. One of the more successful political assassinations of our time. It's pretty wild because like there's 2 different reasons as to why this is so successful.